Yeah, and you brought up the name Jarrett Patterson, and that's interesting because we're going to the Washington football team, who ended up taking him as an undrafted free agent. But they also took an uber athletic linebacker with their first pick, got Samuel Cosmi in round 2, and then got somebody who I think might be a compliment to Terry McLaurin and Dyami Brown in round 3. How did you feel about their draft overall?
I thought they did an outstanding job. All joking aside, I thought they did a great job. Everyone was talking about them trading up to get a quarterback. I think they surveyed the landscape. They saw what it was going to cost them, and they just sat there and they took good football player after good football player after good football player that fits a need. I mean, they needed an inside type of linebacker, middle type linebacker. Everyone thought it was going to be 𝗬𝗢𝗪𝗧𝗨𝗕𝗘 𝗠𝗢𝗪. They took Jamin Davis, who comes off a sensational 2020 season, which he topped off with an incredible pro day workout. He's got to complete his game. He's got to improve his ball skills. But if you're looking for a fierce guy that can stack the run up the field or run sideline to sideline in pursuit and run down or chase down ball handlers, that's your guy. He's got a great amount of upside. His game is on the upswing. Samuel Cosmi is also an offensive lineman that's got a great amount of upside. They need a left tackle. He's big. He's athletic. He's a terrific pass protector. I think if Samuel Cosmi had really shown consistent development since his freshman season, he would be a first-round pick. But the reason he was a late second-round pick was he was very up and down. He played uninspired football at times. He was a guy that oftentimes when you watch the film, you expected more than you actually got. But still, he's got the upside. It's a matter of Ron Rivera getting inside his head and getting him to play to his ability. And Ron Rivera does a good job with that. Benjamin st-Juste, the cornerback from Minnesota, I thought was a real good selection. I had him as a third, fourth round pick. He's a big shutdown guy who actually played better in 2019 than he did in 2020. Yeah. I don't think Minnesota really used him correctly in 2020, used him more as a nickelback, but he's got size, he's got ball skills, and he's got a lot of upside. I agree with you about Dyami Brown. I mean, Dyami Brown went exactly where I thought he would be, where he would go in the third round. He has a lot of speed. He's not 40 fast, but he's football fast. He's a terrific vertical receiver. He gets down the sidelines. He catches the ball. He's shown consistent improvement in his game. He's been a good player for 2 years for North Carolina. I thought this was an excellent selection by Washington. John Bates went a little bit earlier than I thought he would go, but John Bates is really a complete tight end. He's not a real athletic guy. He's not the type of player that Washington is used to having in the past at that position, but he's a guy who can catch the ball. Granted, is not going to be more than 5 or 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he's a guy who does a sensational job as a blocker. 3rd and 2, you can put him on the field and ask him to block, or you can put him out, send him out in a short route and have him catch the ball. He's that type of tight end. Derek Foster is one of my favorite players in the draft. I'm glad to see he went in the 5th round. This is a guy I highlighted during the Draft Insiders podcast with Trey Wingo. He's smart. He's tough. He's more athletic than people give him credit for. He was used basically to keep the action in front of him, to play downhill at Cincinnati. I think he's got the range to go sideline to sideline, fills a need. I think he's someone who could be a third safety, special teams player. Later on in the draft, they got 2 pass rushers and William Bradley King and 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏. William Bradley King started at Arkansas State, moved to Baylor. He's a guy who shows flashes, doesn't have great upside, but gets the most from his ability, which is kind of the opposite of 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏. 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏 is an athletic guy who's got great upside, and he makes plays in spurts. There'll be a game or two where he basically looks like a human highlight film, and then he disappears for 3 or 4 games. So it depends on which 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏 you're getting. Dax Milne, who was one of Zach Wilson's favorite targets, more of your possession, sure-handed type of guy. I think he's more of a practice squad type player.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought up Derek Force, because he was somebody who all the talk was about James Wiggins in that backfield, and I really liked Force's game when I went to watch James Wiggins, and then they went and only had one UDFA signing from what I can find, and that is that Buffalo running back Jarrett Patterson.
There was talk about Patterson being a 3rd or 4th round pick. I said all along Patterson's a late round guy. I mean, he's short. He's not that big. He's slow. I had heard times of 4.7s during his pro day, but he gets the most from his ability, which is, what you want. So, I mean, if he makes the roster, he's going to make it as a 4th running back who's used in situational or in certain situations, he's going to have to make it on special teams. I think what happened with Patterson's your prototypical draft prospect where people looked at the highlights rather than actually looking at the film. They looked at the stats rather than actually watching the plays develop. And that's how they came with their opinion that he was a third round choice, where he never had the physical skills to be that type of player.